Everyone has a story to tell. Welcome to Dingo Talk, where we explore the experiences that make us who we are. Here's your host, Carlo Guadagnino.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is Dingo Talk, and welcome back. Season 3 was off to a great start with Coach Jim Hilbert last week. We're following that trend and staying in the OAC with head coach of Heidelberg University, Scott Donaldson. Before we get too far into that, I want to promote the social media networks and where you can find us and listen to us. Social media is you can get us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The only thing that you have to do differently is on Instagram, it's dingo_talk. On anywhere that you want to listen to the entirety of the show, it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere else that you can get your podcasts. As I said, we're staying in the OAC, the Ohio Athletic Conference, what Coach Hilbert dubbed the SEC of Division III. We'll see if Coach Donaldson feels the same. I'm going to talk to him about his Green Dot initiative. I'm also going to speak to him about the longevity of being there for his entire coaching career, from his playing time at SUNY Brockport to finding his way to Heidelberg. And we're going to talk about all of that. Plus, if you check the guy out, he's got a good beard. So we're going to talk about a beard. We have some good beards. You know, Brian Sampson is one of them. So we'll see how he compares in beard length. And then at the end of the episode, you want to stick around because we are going to do part 2 of the editorial with Serenity Brown. Hopefully she brought notes this time because I think I'm factually correct. So as you can see, I have notes. But that being said, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Scott Donaldson.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? Coach, thank you for taking time with us. This is Coach Scott Donaldson of Heidelberg, the head football coach of Heidelberg. Coach, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us.
Oh, thank you for having me on, bud.
Absolutely. I got to find out how a guy from Buffalo makes his way hour and a half down the highway to SUNY Brockport. That's where we're going to start. So why was SUNY Brockport the school that you picked?
Coming out of high school, I didn't really, I was thinking about playing football. I had some great coaches in high school that really, put the idea in my head that playing football is going to help me. And to be honest, I think I kind of knew I needed the accountability of a football program to succeed. I can probably honestly tell you, and my mom would agree, that without football, I wouldn't have graduated college, much less finish my first year. So it was one of those. And then I really fell in love with the campus. And what's a little different about the New York State schools, they're big schools. I mean, Brockport has 10,000 students. So, but you still get the Division III atmosphere, and really fell in love with the head coach, Rocco Salamone, who passed away a little bit ago, who was a great mentor for me growing up. And the guy recruiting me, it was amazing. Dave Evanson, who's an athletic director down in Methodist now. It really just fell in love with the guys, fell in love with the program and the campus and everything. So in an hour and a half, it wasn't too bad.
Well, I mean, up there, you were already used to the snow, so it's not like you had to. There wasn't an adjustment period for you. You came from Buffalo. I think they're still digging themselves out up there from the last snowstorm.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
And would you like to? Do we need to take a moment of silence? I know that it's been a rough 24 hours for Buffalo faithful.
Let's not get into it. Let's stay off of that subject. All right,
I'm still all right.
Let's just breeze over that one. Okay.
Hey, I'm a Steeler fan. I had to ask. We're enjoying everybody coming and joining us on the couch.
High expectations lead to big disappointment sometimes, and we the whole Bills Mafia is feeling that right now.
Well, and a lot of good football comes out, not just the Bills football, but a lot of good high school football comes out of that area. So you go the hour and a half over. What was your major? What did you decide to study while you were at SUNY Brockport?
I was history education. I was that cliche. You know, my mother, who was still a huge influence on my life, it was an amazing teacher. She's since retired, but I think just on my mom's side, I have 13 first cousins that are teachers. We're a huge family, by the way. It really ran in our family, and it was something that I really thought I could do. I Thankfully, I didn't go that route. I don't do well with high school kids. I'll be very honest with you. I
I
just
think a
don't.
lot of us got out of teaching when we realized, like, oh yeah, man, I can't wait to teach history. Oh, the high school kids. Nope, I'm cool.
Oh, but I teach at Heidelberg. I love teaching. I really do, and coaching is teaching as well. Is educating. But I can't handle 30 high school kids in a room. Someone's not walking out of there. It'll probably be me. Um, it's not good.
I can understand. There's a lot of personalities in high schools. There's a
Yes.
lot of personalities.
And God bless the people that can do it, and the teachers are my heroes, and especially junior high and high school. I got a junior high son right now, and you got to teach him. Thank you.
So from 2000 to 2004, you called Brockport home. In 2004, you graduate. Why Heidelberg? Why was that the next logical jump for you?
You know what? It was. I was in one of those stages where I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. I wasn't. I said I knew I wasn't going to be a teacher. I was working like 3 construction jobs. I was building pools. I was, working under the table for some guys building bars. Remodeling. Whatever I could, and I student coached at Brockport for a year. I had a little bit of a victory lap. All right. The grades weren't that great my freshman year. So a little bit of a victory lap there to finish up school. And it was really more about just me wanting to stay around football, me
Mhm.
wanting to stay around the sport that did so much for me. And so Coach Salomon, we talked, and he sure as hell wasn't going to hire me. I wasn't good enough for that, but go check out, send your resume out and find it. And by sheer dumb luck, Heidelberg called because the defensive coordinator at the time, Mike Vosberg's brother, is the head coach at St. John Fisher, who actually recruited me out of high school, and we were rivals in college. So there was some kind of name recognition, and at that point, Heidelberg was we were bad. I mean, my first 3 years at Heidelberg were 0-30. So I think they were 1-9 the year before I got hired. So I didn't help the situation. I promise that. So it was one of those, I went, we had a lot of success at Brockport. So, they hired me on, and the rest is haven't friggin' left. They can't get rid of me now.
Well, and I listened to an interview you did a while back, maybe not a while back, where you talked about it wasn't just football. It was a whole culture at Heidelberg that changed, and football was maybe not a catalyst, but it was, being that it's the largest program, I'm guessing, at the school, it had a big part in that turnaround.
I think so. I think catalyst is actually the right word. It was a combination of a lot of things, but make no mistake, the impetus to all of that, I really think, was hiring Mike Hallett as head coach in 2007. And the second he came in, and for the guys that know Mike, who's the offensive line coach at Toledo right now, has been for 7 years now. He's a big personality, and he came in with the mindset, well, they're either going to change or I'm going to leave. Whatever, I'll find another job. But we're going to make Heidelberg a winner, and I think that really spread across campus, and it was also the right time. They had the right admissions counselors, the right financial aid, the right administration that really changed a lot of things. I mean, since 2007, I think there's probably, God, it's got to be 6 brand new buildings on campus. I mean, and it's keeps going. We're still building. So it wasn't just a football program, but I really think the football program was the catalyst for it. in a small school, like you said, yes, we are very much the largest organization on campus. I mean, you could combine all the Greek together and we're still bigger. All
Yeah.
right. And it's Northwest Ohio, a small town, Northwest Ohio, that's had football since 1892. I don't know if there's a human being alive in Seneca County that doesn't have a relative that at least played Heidelberg football at some point. And so yeah, football is a big part of this campus's identity and this campus's life. So when that starts getting better, I think everything else kind of followed suit.
When you said so in 2007 is kind of where the turnaround starts to happen.
Mhm.
And I really liked as a part of that interview, you talked about how Heidelberg doesn't get voted in the top 5 in any of the preseason polls, and you guys haven't finished out of the top 4 in the past decade. So it's kind of like I mean, it's more or less for me as a guy, you watch all those, every year there's a new conference poll and there's who expects what. Yeah, what do they mean though? Because at the end of the day, 60 minutes on a football field. Come play us.
100%.
And leading into that, why the blue collar? Because I know being from Buffalo, that's got to be already embedded in you, but why that blue collar and what does that bring to the football team?
Well, I think it's just who we are. It's not something. It's not a label we're trying to force on ourselves. That's really just who Heidelberg is as a school, and just where Tiffin, Ohio is, and who we are as people, and the kids we attract.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is. We're not going to pretend to be something we're not. All right. And we know who we are. We know the type of kids we attract are your middle class kids that have had to work to get to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be academically, that could be athletically, and it's very true financially. My kids need to work. They need to work to afford tuition, because their parents can't fork over a $43,000 check. All right, that's just not who we are.
No,
that's not. And so it's. I guess it's more of an identity on just who Heidelberg's always been. This was founded as a teachers college. And we don't have we have some great majors. Don't get me wrong, an amazing education program, but it's we don't have the big money majors that the kids start making $1 million the second they graduate from Heidelberg.
Yeah,
That's just again not who we are. You go into our parking lot, you're not seeing Range Rovers and whatever else.
Civics. A lot of Honda Civics around.
A lot of beat up Honda Civics and some really bad pickup trucks. All right.
A lot of off-roading though. Right?
Well, there's no doubt you can go off road, hopefully on purpose. Sometimes not, but that's who this coaching staff is too. And I think it fits well. You got to have that marriage between who the staff is and the identity of the staff and kind of the personality, I guess is a better word for that,
mm-hmm.
and who the players are and who the school is. And I think we know who we are. All right, and we're damn proud of it.
When you're talking to a prospective parent, what are the things that most important to you to convey to the parent first, and then we'll get into what you talk to with the players?
So with a parent, the first thing I want them to understand is that the well-being of their son will always take precedence over anything. Mm-hmm. And especially the development of their son will always take precedence over anything that happens on the football field. And I truly mean that. We are here to develop men. All right. And hopefully I can prove that to them. It's not just me talking about it. By the way we conduct ourselves on the visit, and what we show them is say, listen, we have a plan. We have a plan to develop your son. We have a plan academically. Obviously, we have a plan football-wise and strength-wise and all that. But more importantly, we have a plan academically. More importantly, we have a plan maturity-wise, or as a man, I guess. And our goals are to graduate great men. All right. And I just get to use football to do it. So it's a little more fun. But that really is the goals of this team. So it's easy saying that. It's hard to prove it. I guess.
Well, I noticed
So
you
that
said
that's
at one point you said during the interview I was listening to as I was prepping for the show that you don't judge success necessarily. Obviously, wins and losses are important, and that's part of being a coach. You have to that's how the job gets based.
of course.
You made the comment that well, I can't tell you if I'm successful yet. I got to wait 10 years because that's when you'll find out where those young men have gone, what have they done with their families. You know, I really thought that was it really spoke to the family aspect of what you guys have kind of created there at Heidelberg.
Well, I truly mean that. I truly mean it. Um, and it's we're building men. Football's a fun thing you get to do while you do that, and it's something we can use as a tool. But we need to understand what the mission statement of this program is.
Mm-hmm.
Winning is very important, but you can do it without sacrificing your humanity, without sacrificing your real goals in life. And you know, I think this staff and the school does a really good job of that. So
Little curveball question for you on
hell yeah.
with the state of college football. Obviously, at the
Mhm.
Division I and Division II level, it's a little crazy and hectic with NIL and transfer portal and et cetera. And I talked to Coach Hilver last week about is it as crazy transfer portal wise at the Division III level? Is that something that is
No.
as wild? And is Division III, I guess, the last purest form of college football, or the closest you can get to it? I mean, because your purity is only so much. Like,
It's a subjective term. I mean,
yeah,
you know, I don't know about the purity question. You know, as far as the transfer portal affecting schools like Heidelberg, no, not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll have some attrition. I'll have guys leave, and some guys
mm-hmm.
will decide football's not for them, or some guys will decide Heidelberg's not for them, and they're looking for a new home. That's really a rarity. I think I had one kid in the fall, and it's more because he wanted to go back to Florida more than he wanted to, you know, transfer schools. So, um, I, some colleges, Division III schools, are really trying to get transfers and things like that, and that's fine. It's just we don't do that. I've never actually gone into that. I've never logged into the transfer portal. I have no idea how to get there. I don't know if I have a username at all.
No
Um,
credentials.
well, we don't want to build our program on that. And listen, we are going to have transfers, and you know, I got 3 in at break, and transfers will happen. But 99% of those guys are guys we recruited out of high school
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, for whatever reason decided another school was better and realized that it wasn't, and now want to come back. But we're not going actively looking. That's just not who we are as a program. We're here to develop, and it takes 4 years to really do it. I can't do it in a year or two. I want to be able to develop guys for 4 years.
Now, I've heard that the OAC is basically the I think the SEC of Division III football.
I think so. I'm biased though.
Give us a little bit more about that. I mean, I know we all know who there's one name in your conference that everybody knows who it is, but I don't think people
Heidelberg,
realize.
yes.
I like that. That was good. You see, I like the little give it back and forth here. But there's a lot of good football that happens in the Ohio Athletic Conference.
I mean, it really is. And obviously Mount is on a different level than, you know, everyone other than North Central right now. You know, and they're phenomenal program. I'm not. Coach Dart does an amazing job building off of, you know, what the Karras family did, and obviously he's a part of the Karras family. I can't say that, but it's unbelievable. And I honestly, coming from New York, and we played Brockport, we were independent when I played, but we played a lot of NJAC schools. But you still had the Cortlands, the Ithacas. Then we'd get down to the Rowans, the Montclairs. It was really good football.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking out here. There's every week in, week out. If you don't play well, you lose. I don't care who you are. Legitimately, if you do not play well, if you do not execute, you'll lose.
Okay.
All right. Every 9 OAC game you play. All right. Some of the games you can play your perfect game and still not win. So, but it's just it's an amazing conference. But not only the players, and Ohio football's special. I'll be honest. High school football is special, but there's great coaches.
Mm-hmm.
There's great coaches. Unbelievable guys. You talk to one. Jim's an amazing coach. And there's so many great coaches and great institutions that are committed to athletics and committed to football. That's what I see the biggest difference is. This conference is committed to being successful in football and seeing their student athletes be successful in football, and that's why they're able to keep great coaches like Coach Hilbert and Coach Dart and all those rest of the guys.
Now, back to as you're on the recruitment trail, when you've talked to the parent, now when you decide that you're talking to the player, what are things that you're looking for in that guy, in that specific young man?
So, first and foremost, let's say we're bringing kids on campus, and an on-campus visit. That's how we your first contact is getting to know each other. And then once you get to know each other, you try to get them on campus. And once we get them on campus, now they're really recruiting them, offered, whatever you want to call it. So in order just to get invited to campus, number one, we need to see film. It's not, I'm going to sound real cocky here, and I'm sorry. It's not fair for me to recruit a kid that can't play for us. It's just not. It's not fair to the kid. It's not fair to us because we're wasting a locker and a lot of time.
Yeah.
All right. So film we need to see and making sure he's good enough to help us win at some point. Again, high school film is high school film. It's hard to tell no matter what. But also, just to get invited, I need to make sure we've talked to someone that knows you. Whether it's most of the time it's your high school coach. Obviously you're talking local area, it's different because you know a lot of people, but I need a character reference. And that's why it's so important to get to know these kids. Because I need to hear from their coaches that, hey, this kid will add to your roster. This kid will not only just add to your roster, but add to your culture. He's not going to be a knucklehead. He's going to be, and I'm not saying he got to be a saint, and I sure as hell ain't a saint, and I ain't got a roster of them. But at the end of the day, will they care about their teammates? Will they care about graduating? Will they care about the classroom? Will they care about their brother's success just as much as their own? All right, and those we need to hear that before a kid even steps on campus. And that's why when they're on campus, I meet with every single recruit, their families one-on-one because I want to get to know them. And yeah, we've had some very bad visits where we told the kid after the visit, we're not recruiting you anymore. Okay, and that's why they're going to meet with their position coach one-on-one, or at least the coordinator. And we want to get to know these kids. We want to create a relationship.
Now, are there certain things that when without talking to a player, you see them, maybe the way they interact with their family or the way they interact with whoever brought them to campus, does that sway you one way or another? Like if you can see that they have basic principles and understand,
Of course. Yeah, of course. You see a kid that's respectful to his mom and respectful to his father, and I mean that goes a long way. And I like personality. It's some kids do get in my office on the one-on-one and kind of clam up, and I want to talk. I want to chop it up. I want to have fun today. All right.
You don't want it to be one-sided. It's a little give and take.
The day goes really boring when it's just me talking to the kids and there's no bounce back. I want to have a conversation. I don't want this to be a presentation. I want to have a conversation. I want to have a discussion. And I like personality, and that's probably why our team are such knuckleheads. And
well, I heard the fan base is a little wild and crazy too out there in Tiffin, Ohio.
I love them. And they're wild.
I have heard some things.
It gives us a good home game advantage, and not only, when you come to Heidelberg, you're going to be playing against a good football team, but you're going to get mentally and emotionally destroyed by the students in the end zone. And I love it. I love it.
I mean, I just have this image of just going crazy for 60 minutes. Like,
It's bad. It's bad. Luckily, our stadium, I've never seen pictures. It's in a big bowl, so it's really loud. So luckily, the parents in the stands can't really hear it. But obviously, I'm right there on the 25. I can hear them.
you can hear it.
Oh my God, they are horrible. The things they say is bad. Our athletic director had to go spend almost, what was it, like $5,000 on barricades because the rope we had wasn't working. And the refs weren't very happy about the student section. So I love them. I love it. That's fun.
So completely off topic, but if you could sit down with three people, they can be any three people. Doesn't have, it could be historical figures, because I know you obviously you liked history enough to try to be a history teacher. Who would you sit down with and why?
Oh man, that's tough. You gotta give me a little more. Easily one, just because it popped in my head quick. It was my dad. My dad passed about 15 years ago, or 17 years ago, and love to talk to him, obviously.
Yeah.
Talking historical figures through it all, I really I don't know why this popped in my head. Probably could have just read a book about him. Was Teddy Roosevelt. What an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Like, and I know he had his faults, but man, that dude did some stuff in his life.
And he was willing to fight. He was a fighter. Like,
I would absolutely love just to chop it up with him. I think that'd be amazing. And I'm gonna go Robert Johnson.
okay.
I would love. I don't know why, the turn of the century, the 1920s, 1930s, that era I love reading about it, watching movies on it, anything I can, and hearing about the kind of the Delta blues kind of scene down there would be really cool to hear about. I think there's so many. No one's really told the whole truth, and I don't think anyone can. So I'd love to hear, kind of that blues scene back in the 30s and 20s. I think would be really cool to hear about.
I think that would be a very interesting little gathering. I don't know how it would end up, but it would be there'd be a heck of a story for many years to come.
Yeah. I'm sure I could have went, those are the three that popped in my head first, buddy. So I think it'd be interesting dinner conversation.
I asked that question the previous season, and I had a guy say, I'm very into religion. This might make me sound weird, but I want to sit down with Abraham, Jesus, and Moses. And I said, well, I mean, that's not weird. That makes a lot of sense. They're pretty important characters in the whole story. Yeah. And he goes, sir, they're not characters. They are. And I was like, whoa, like it wasn't insulting. I wasn't saying character is a descriptor, not like, it wasn't really, my face went from like, so,
oh crap.
Oh man, I'm like the guy in Major League. I'm going to start a holy war, and I didn't even mean to. I was just,
it sounds like the premise of a really dirty joke. Abraham, Moses, and Jesus walk into a bar,
and I offer them a seat. That's the punchline we're going to go with.
Exactly.
So, we're entering year 7, correct?
7, 8. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think 16 was my first year. Yes.
So 4 years after your first year, you go through what every other coach in America went through, which was that crazy time period in 2020 where every day ran together for 12 months.
Yeah.
What was it like? Because a lot of people from the coaching side don't really get to talk about how they were still behind the scenes going to meetings, trying to figure out how we were going to get people on the field, what the safety precautions were going to be, how we were going to do the spring season. I mean, there was a lot of, so how did that all play out for you guys?
I mean, it was chaos. It was absolute chaos. You had no idea, especially in the beginning in that first summer, you had no idea what was going on. And, we're hearing things, you're not hearing things, you're calling all your buddies across the country. Oh, what are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to find ways, Zoom meetings and everything, which, luckily I haven't had any in a while, so this is all right. But God, I got sick of Zoom. Holy crap.
I can
Um,
understand.
but
I can
so,
understand.
and it wasn't just that, it was recruiting.
Mhm.
Again, we're a small school. If we don't get our class, that school is, firing people.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. Are we going to get furloughed? And thank, thank the Lord that they kept paying us through it. I know a lot of coaches weren't lucky enough. They got furloughed for a month. They got furloughed for the entire season where they weren't getting paid, and that means my kids don't eat.
Yeah.
So, um, and Heidelberg treated us extremely well. They did an amazing job. The administration of, keeping everyone together. All right, and from coaches to everyone,
Mhm.
custodial staff to everyone. So, but a lot of that was recruiting too. How are we gonna get this class? How are we gonna, all right, get these kids here? And it's funny because that class specifically is the class that are going to be seniors this year. And we were lucky enough to really have a great class that year. Numbers wise, we weren't very high, but we didn't need to be. We're
Mhm.
lucky enough we don't need to be. They were a talented class with 7 or 8 starters in that class coming back next year. So, but that was just a wild time, man. You should have seen my beard, by the way. It was amazing.
And I'm
I mean,
glad
if
you
this
brought
thing was down to here,
well, I'm
all
glad you
right,
brought that up because this
gorgeous.
show started and my second guest was Brian Sampson, the former women's basketball coach at Bethany College, now the athletic director at Bethany College. And for those that have seen the episode or seen me and Brian interact, you got to compliment the thing. It was down to here. He was mid-COVID. It was a glorious beard. Brian, I hate to do this to you. This guy's beard's better. It's not that it's just a nicer beard. It's not that your beard wasn't nice. It's just a nicer, and he was willing to trim his beard to come on the show where you come
I
in and
did.
it was just a
It was a
little
little out of
trim.
control on the sides.
Also, Brian, don't be mad. We'll figure it out. Your beard's still glorious. It's all right. So now we're heading into year 7. I think I did that math right in my head. And this is that class that's, I wasn't a math major. I was a communications guy. I was a history education major before that. And then I figured out, so we're heading into the 2023 season. What's the expectation from your end? What are you seeing as, I mean, obviously it's very early in the off season, but.
Well, extremely. And we just graduated 38 seniors. We graduated, 4 6th-year seniors, I think 11 5th-year seniors, and then the rest were just regular old seniors.
Those normal seniors.
Yes. Trust me, roster management is real fun when you still have those COVID years. But we lost a lot of great football players. I mean, our entire offensive line, our top receiver, our tight end, defensively, one kid that was 5 times all conference, first one ever, obviously.
Wow.
Can only be.
Yeah.
He was, Zach Blackiston, who set every sack record. He'll be playing on Sundays next year, but so it's obviously, as a coach, it's scary, but we're used to this.
Mhm.
It's actually a lot more fun, if this makes sense. Obviously in the weight room now and everything, but it's different when there's a lot of playing time available, I guess. And obviously everyone knows it, you have to earn your spot every year, but if a kid is already 4 times all conference and already has the Heidelberg sack record going into his 5th year, he's probably going to start.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. All right. Now we're seeing it's just a different attitude in the weight room and with the guys. It's a little more exciting. It's a little more intense. And I think that's going to pay dividends. There's no question, because we have talent.
Yeah.
We have talent at every position. Just who's going to be that guy, we don't know yet. We won't figure that out until freaking September. All right. But it's a really cool thing to experience when you do graduate that many guys one year. It's these guys stepping up are just a little hungrier,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really proving it already in the weight room in our short 1-2 weeks in there. It's really fun to watch, but expectations, who the hell knows? I mean,
Well, yeah, we're very early, but as a sports guy, I got to ask you that.
I mean, who the heck knows?
That's like the press conference question. Coach, what'd you see out there? Well, I just came off the field. Can you give me? I know. Listen, we're taught a certain amount of questions that, like, if you have
I get
nothing
it,
else,
buddy. I get it.
you hit the bailout button and just ask one of the stock questions. And you.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, the OAC is so damn good. Obviously we've been fortunate enough to finish. It's really been a 4-way race for a while. But that being said, there's so many teams that are just right there. And into getting to that 8-2, 9-1 type range. And so it's, dude, I have no idea. I know we're gonna play hard. I know we're gonna have a sweet beard while we do it. That's about it.
Now I feel like I really gotta grow my beard in as thick as I possibly can, because if I'm gonna start taking shots at other people's beards, I better be able to back it up.
It looks fine.
I appreciate that. Coming from you, that's a big compliment. So I guess the last question before we get in, there's 2 more questions here that I want to ask you, and then we'll wrap up everything. In your opinion, what's the most important personality strength for someone that you have to work with? So somebody you have to work with day in and day out, could be a player, could be a coach, could be a boss or a coworker. What is the one trait you're looking for that's going to make you work with that person really well?
It's one that's tough. It's got to be trying to think of the right word, because toughness, yeah, obviously there's that, but it's really it's not just that. I mean, I want to say the word I'm thinking of is more resiliency.
Okay.
In that, yeah, you got to keep working, and when we're in a school like Heidelberg, if you're coaching with me, you better understand you have to outwork every single team you're recruiting against. Doesn't matter if that team is 10-0 or 0-10 the year before. Doesn't matter. It's just who we are. Okay, and we have to do it. All right, and it's that trickles down to our players. Our kids understand that we're not going to get the kids from the St. Xavier's and St. Ed's and St. Ignatius, these storied programs that are putting out, All Americans in Big Ten and SEC. It's just not who we are.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get a lot of small school kids. And so it's teaching those kids how to work harder than everyone else. So I don't know if resiliency is even the damn word I'm looking for, buddy. All right.
I think resiliency is good, because it's one of those, you got to get knocked. If you get knocked down, you got to be able to know you get your ass back up.
It is. It is. So, but working with that, I mean, obviously the humility comes into a lot of it. And if you think you're the best, you're not going to work as hard as the next guy. So you gotta be humble to it. But so, yeah, I'll go with resiliency. Final answer.
Where did you meet your wife?
Oh, but those are more off-camera stories, buddy. No, it was it was one of those. My best friend was dating her best friend, and they didn't last, but we did. Shoot.
Hey, you can. Hey, it's your show. You can say.
All right.
We put that little label on the bottom. There might be some explicit language here or there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you do it when you're talking to me. But no, she was from the town next to me, but her friends were going to college at Buff State with a couple of my friends. And so in the summers and stuff, we kind of hung out, and you know what I mean?
And now you have 2 beautiful kids.
Beautiful kids, been married for, what is this, 13 years, going on 14? I don't know. Hope she doesn't watch it. Something like that. So
He was put on the
But no.
spot, I swear.
Hey, she's gonna move away from Buffalo to Tiffin, Ohio for me, and live here for the last 16 years. I mean, so that's I think I'll keep her for a little bit.
I think so. She seems like a keeper.
Yeah. Don't watch Bills games with her though. She's insane.
Oh, so she's the
insane.
crazy one.
Oh my God, she's insane. Like when we're watching our kids' sports, I have to calm her down. Like, Kelly, relax, okay? It's 7th grade basketball. Relax.
We're
All
trying
right,
to
the
get the
ref doesn't
skills
have
down
money
right
on the
now.
game. Well, the funny thing is, so again, our stadium is kind of open, and we kind of let people do what they want. And the one end zone that's away from our end zone shot, obviously we have a lift in the end zone. That's where all the coaches' families are. So obviously all of our wives, all of our kids, there's 30 kids running around, all their families. And but my wife, you can always find her because she's pacing up and down and like she's never sitting. It's hilarious to see because, when we get down to that side, you can really see that. I love it. I send her Snapchats of it all the time. She goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe it."
She's an assistant coach without being a coach. She's on the other sideline.
Oh, 100%. 100%. 100%. And she talks more crap than the students. So you got to be careful with that.
I made Coach Hilbert a promise that I'm going to have to make my way to see a game for him. I might have to make my way to Tiffin, Ohio to see this one. I just need to make sure the student section, like I'm getting a bald spot back here. I don't need to be being picked on. I'm very sensitive about this area right here.
That's all right. You got a hat. I'll get you a hat.
All right. That'd be perfect. Now, explain to me what Green Dot is.
So, Green Dot is a violence prevention program. All right. And so we got involved in it. Oh God, probably had to be 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I'll be very honest. The athletic director at the time kind of voluntold me, "Hey, you're going to this. You're going to be involved in this." I said, "Okay." I was a really young head coach, but ended up doing an entire week seminar. I mean, it was over 40 hours of intensive training on how to train bystanders. So obviously you get a lot of violence prevention programming on college campuses, as well as there should be. It is a big problem.
Yeah.
But what Green Dot does is actually, it doesn't focus on a perpetrator or a possible victim or a possible perpetrator. What it focuses on the bystanders. Mm-hmm. So training students, or really anyone, because we do this with faculty, we do it with everyone, anyone involved with campus, training them on how to recognize a potential problem.
Okay.
All right. And then actually giving them tools to act on that. And whether it, talk about the 3Ds, direct, you could directly go, distraction that, could diffuse a situation. Mm-hmm. Or delegate and find someone else, but really just giving them tools to act on that, and got really involved with it. And I actually just had a meeting today about it on kind of our spring plans and everything on how we're going to train kids, how we're going to keep kids as safe as we possibly can. All right. So I'm really focused on that power-based violence of sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking. But I think it's made an impact on the campus, and hope to do as much as we can.
Now, this is a nationwide program then? It's not just...
This is a nationwide program that we actually receive a grant from the federal government to implement. So wow. I don't get paid for it, but I don't know what the grant is. But I think we have 8 members of our implementation team, and really just I think we're doing a pretty good job. And obviously we could always do more, and that's what we're always, this campus could always be safer. Every campus could be safer for every one of its students, male, female, freshman to senior. So let's be proactive about it and try to find ways to do that. So and what I think really gets it is probably why I got voluntold to do it, but it's that unexpected messenger. All right, when you're talking about sexual assault and how to prevent it, you don't expect a 6'1", 280-pound bald guy with a giant beard up there talking to you.
No,
let's be honest. All
No.
right. And especially on a small campus, most people know who I am. And hearing that for me, I think really does go a long way.
Hmm.
So I was really happy to be involved and happy to be continue to be involved 5, 6 years later.
When it sounds like a great program that I hope, continues. That
Hope
it
so.
spreads. And last two questions for you. The last one is going to be a very oddly worded. I wrote it a couple months ago. I've used it at the end of every episode, but I'm just preparing you now. It's very weird the way but the first one is top 3 sports movies for you, not of all time. It would be your 3 favorite.
All right. Number 1, Varsity Blues, guaranteed.
Yes.
By far.
Yes.
By far. That came out when I was a senior in high school. It was perfect timing. Just absolutely. Number 2, Major League. That started my love affair with the Cleveland baseball team.
Their name.
Yes, the Guardians now, and that's still, and I'm still debating. So let me ask you, my son's 12. Is he allowed? Do you think it's okay to show him the unedited Major League yet?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, good. All right, I'll tell my wife you said it was okay.
I'm trying to think. I was like 11. I might have been 12, 11, 12.
I think I was probably that 7th, 8th grade. I had the old cheater box with the tracking number with the illegal cable.
Yep.
Getting that in on the HBOs. Trying to think 3 now. There's just so many great ones. But see, when you're talking football movies, I got to go the Program. Again, came out when I was a kid. I was probably in 9th grade, 10th grade when that came out, and that just I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch a lot of football movies. Obviously I did, but it's like The Replacements is a great movie. The football action in it is god awful.
Awful.
It's you can say the same of Varsity Blues. It's just everything else, and Tweeter makes it.
Every quarterback, every actor quarterback that they couldn't teach them to put their arm up here, so we get this.
It's bad. I mean, Keanu Reeves wasn't bad though. I've seen worse.
Shane Falco cost me a lot of money in that Orange Bowl
football
game.
action. What's that?
Shane Falco cost me a lot of money in that Orange Bowl game. I'm just going to point it out. Apparently, nobody had anything else to do on that day either.
There's no doubt. But those are, I guess my top 3.
The only one that I would change would have been I would have put The Replacements in, and it's not because of Shane Falco. It's the scene where he lets the linebacker go out, go get me the ball. He freaks out, and the ref says,
"Oh yeah, yeah,
hey, calm down." Scene. And he goes back to, "All right, go sit down now, Danny." And the other scene is when Nigel is smoking the cigarette, and John Madden says, "I think that guy's smoking on the field." You didn't think that an Englishman was going to be smoking, John?
It's underrated. It really is.
I was really hoping when Washington was going through their name change, I was one of the ones pulling for a Washington
for the Senators. Yeah, Sentinels.
Or I'm not going to lie to you. I was a big fan of the team. I was a big fan of the football team, the Washington football team for that COVID year.
Too much like soccer.
Well, too much Premier League. You could say go team, and
just too much Premier League for me. I can't get into it.
Last question: was there a question that you expected me to ask, and how would you have answered it?
Expected you to ask. Hey, usually most people ask why I've been at Heidelberg for 19 years. And my story is kind of rare. I guess this is how I would have answered it, in that, I've been able to work from GA to head coach, and I've had every damn job in between, football or the athletic department. So, I've been here this long because I love it. I love the school. I love the area. And, obviously I wasn't used to cornfields growing up, but Tiffin's a great little college town. It really is a great, great little town. But I love the kids we attract. And obviously it's different kids every year, but every school has a personality. Every
Mhm.
school has a personality of kids they attract, and I love our kids' personality, man, and they're just so fun. Um, and I knew it's a place we can win at a national level. I think even as I started getting fielding some head coaching calls before I was head coach here and taking interviews, my prerequisites and things that I wasn't going to bend on were number one, school that treats its students the right way,
Mhm.
and number two, a school we can win at a national level. And I had both those things, so why the hell leave?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Why go looking when you already have it?
100%, 100%. I get to surround myself around my best friends. I mean, this coaching staff is ungodly good. They're not just great coaches; they're unbelievable people. I mean, and our D coordinator Brandon Jacobson, he's been with me for 17 years. The offensive coordinator Jason Lewis, he's going on his 14th year. Our recruiting coordinator Jamar Lewis is going on his off and on for about 12 years now.
Mhm.
And we have amazing other young coaches, but those are the guys that we've been together forever.
Well, and you gotta obviously you guys still have arguments. That's not, but
God, yeah.
that's a family thing. It's you got to know your people that you're working with and be able to, for that long, there has to be a mutual brotherhood family dynamic.
And it really is. It really is. I mean, like I said, as pathetic as it sounds, after the game, yeah, the whole staff is going to be over in my garage, and it's just we were in all of each other's weddings. We were at all of each other's weddings, and we've been together so freaking long. I mean, it's they really are more like brothers, and our kids are more like nieces and nephews than they are buddies' kids. I mean, it really is like that. So, like I said, I know it's pathetic because we spend 15 hours a day in the freaking office together, and then when we actually get a chance to, we go out and hang out together.
You got to hang on. 15 wasn't enough. How about another? You got another 2, 3 in you? Come
Yeah.
on over.
Yeah, but usually those 2 or 3 are a hell of a lot more fun than the 15 you just spent.
I'd imagine so. Well, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck this season. I'm going to have to make my way to Tiffin, Ohio, apparently now. Now I've got 2 trips to Ohio planned, so.
I was going to say, we play at BW next year, I think.
So maybe I'll go to B-Dub, and then I'll come up, and we'll do.
There you go, bud.
As we've been doing here for the past couple of weeks, we have a new segment where our editor comes on and tells me all the things that I did wrong, and we talk about how we can improve. So we're going to send it to that segment. Coach, again, good luck next year. And Serenity, take it away, I guess.
What's going on, Chuckleheads, and welcome to week 2 of the editorial with Serenity Brown. I am Carlo Guadagnino, my guest, the editor of the show, Serenity Brown. We just finished up our conversation, my conversation with head coach of Heidelberg University, Scott Donaldson. Take it away. What were your thoughts? I see you actually brought notes. That's good.
Listen, first of all, I brought notes the first time. They just weren't very good.
Okay, well, these seem to be, you have points here. What did you think?
So the overall show, I liked the interview. I think you guys bounced off of each other very well. There was a lot of to and fro, and I always think that makes for a better interview. Mm-hmm. Just because there's good vibes and.
Phenomenal beard. The guy has a phenomenal beard.
I
mean, look, I take pride in my beard. DB has a better beard than me. I can put that on the record because it's true.
Listen, you keep telling me you're going to shave it off.
Well, it's just a threat.
I tell you no.
It's an idle threat. So what was the good?
So I liked a lot of the points he made. Like, the first one I have written down was I like that his focus is more on the development of
the players.
Yeah, of the individual person, not just growing as a team, which is obviously going to be important, but making sure each individual grows to be a better person. I also liked the fact that he said, like, his requirements for me to even recruit you, obviously you got to be good.
You got to be able to play.
You got to be able to play.
The game.
But the fact that he looks into your behaviors and actions and
how you interact.
wants to have conversations with the people who know you best so they can get a feel for you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes a lot into building a team too. So I thought that was really cool.
What did you think of the Green Dot Initiative?
I liked it. I love that you have it just written down on the corner of the paper there.
I take notes during the interviews.
Yes.
I thought particularly that would be of interest to you as a female. You I'm sure have a different experience than what I had in college. It's a different.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's always a great cause, stuff like that. I think it's really cool, like a cool program and stuff that they set up.
So, what was the bad? Nothing. You like this interview.
I like this interview.
This was a good interview. I didn't do anything bad.
There's some of them where
yeah,
they're a little rough to get through. I didn't, at any point during editing the show, I didn't have a point where I was like, oh, okay, can I be over with this yet?
Let's talk about the 3 historical figures that you would have lunch with.
I still don't, I'm still busy.
3 writers. 3 serial killers. 3 Disney characters. Give me something, woman. Have lunch with 3 people.
I told you I would eventually get you your answer, but I'm still busy.
Okay. Is there a question that I did not ask Coach Donaldson that maybe you thought of that I should have asked?
I don't think so, but I did have it as a point I written down on my notes. Was he the first person to actually answer the final question?
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure he was. Everybody else kind of gave a cop-out answer of, oh no, you asked some good questions.
Oh, it's a cop-out now. It's not that I conducted a good... Oh, see how this goes. She's two episodes in, and now she's running the show. She's been running the show for a while. So, yeah, I guess he would be the first person that I can think of. No, that's not true. Dr. Simkovich, he pointed out that I didn't ask him about the NHL connection. So
you're right.
No, but that's you tried. And that's all we ask for here is the effort. With that being said, if you've made it this far and you'd like to continue to follow us, you can follow us on our social medias, which are Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Everything's the same except for Instagram. It's Dingo_talk. You thought I was going to make it all the way through because I didn't do it at the beginning. Make sure you don't just type in Dingo Talk because you'll find wild dogs there, and that's not me or her or Coach Donaldson. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you can get a podcast. We're there. And then on YouTube every Thursday, 10 a.m. You got anything else? All right, well, next week, Chuckleheads.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Dingo Talk. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. For more info and to contact the show, you can find us on Twitter @Dingo Talk.